Yo, what the fuck is wrong with ETH? Who is still holding a big ETH bag in 2025? I want to ask you, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with ETH? Now, I'm not here to clown anyone or anything. I'm here to combine fundamentals with technicals to create a trade thesis on ETH. And so let's start with high time frame technicals, then fundamentals, then um then back to lower time frame technicals. So first of all, yo, Bitcoin hit an all-time high, man. It had a way up from the last cycle all-time high. It went up 60%, pretty nice. I made a new all-time high, cooled off, and then had a second leg for another all-time high. Pretty strong, even if it has a big pullback here, still performed great. However, if we look at ETH didn't come anywhere close to an all-time high, actually. It only went, it came about within 20% of a new all-time high. And whereas for Bitcoin, it had the second leg brought it 50% higher than the last leg. For ETH, the second leg failed at the high of the last leg. So ETH has been extremely weak. And if we were to compare it to even say Solana, which is a competitor, Solana at least made a new all-time high. Solana from the lows went crazy. Yeah, went insane from like $9 to almost 300. So ETH has been very weak. And if we look at ETH BTC, compare ETH to Bitcoin, it's been, I guess it had a significant top in August 2022, and it's been on a significant downtrend for 2.5 years. And there's all these levels like, oh, should it bounce here at this level? Should it bounce here at this level? It's just been going down, down, down. And the question is, okay, well, in past market cycles, Bitcoin all-time highs, Bitcoin sideways, ETH all-time highs, ETH sideways, altcoin market blasts off. This hasn't happened this cycle. Now let's go ahead, let's look at total market cap. It made a new all-time high this cycle on the back of Bitcoin. Total 3 actually failed right at all-time highs, whether it goes higher or not to be determined. And others, which is the altcoin market, did not make a new all-time high. And it did better than ETH, but it also, as of now, it failed to make a hold. At least it made a higher high, but it isn't holding a higher high from the last leg up. So if we're just to look at relative strength compared to the rest of the market, ETH is extremely weak. Why? Okay. So here's my concept, and it is ETH had first mover advantage in utility token space, utility network space. Utility. So here are the main utility. Main utility is USDT transfer, but then it is ERC20 tokens, then it is NFTs. ERC20 tokens are other altcoins, like SHIB was an ERC20. So the growth and rally in ETH and rallies in ETH have been based on huge demand for moving USDT on the ETH network, ERC20 tokens, and NFTs. So, I mean, back here, this was peak NFT, right? This was peak NFT in 2021. However, ETH is, what is ETH? I'm going to tell you. It is slow and expensive compared to Sol, BNB, Tron, and I could make a list of 10 more. So the problem is For me, I don't know about you guys, but the only time I would actually use the ETH network is when I was trading or when I was just sending USDT. Like I have to onboard on Kraken. I live in Hawaii, I onboard on Kraken. Then I transfer my dollars to USDT, and then I send the USDT to um, BitGet, Bybit, KuCoin, Mexi, wherever, right? That's what I do. And I send it on chain. And then if I want to move it back to my bank, I send it on chain. In the past, I used ETH. And this time I used ETH. Back then I used ETH. But this cycle I use Solana. Why do I use Solana? It's slower. Sorry, ETH is slower and more expensive. The fee is faster, the fee is higher, and it takes longer for it to get to me. So I use Sol. I use Solana. Solana is it's cheaper and faster, so I just use Solana. And if I didn't use ETH or Solana, I would use BNB or Tron or something. Now, there's also ERC20 tokens. Well, this cycle, all the tokens moved to Solana, not ETH. People aren't launching tokens on ETH because there were insane things that happened. The fees would get to $70. You would burn gas. You wouldn't even get the thing on the airdrop, whatever. So a lot of the activity moved to Solana, and we see it in the chart. We can look at the ETH Sol chart. They only listed this in May, but it's down, right? So let's go back to ETH. We have what do we have? And then NFTs didn't really make a comeback. People trade them a little bit, but not like they used to. So what's happened in 2025 is USDT is transferred on other networks. I'm not just gonna say Solana because there's a number. Um, Token launch moved to Solana mostly, and NFTs didn't make a comeback. Now you would say, well, ETH's dumping right as we're speaking. You could say, okay, well, ETH is more secure. This was an argument, more secure. Maybe, I don't know. They keep changing it. Nobody understands what's going on because of all these updates. And Bitcoin is clearly better money than ETH because we don't want the devs coming in and patching our money. That's the whole point of Bitcoin being hard to patch. Oh, it's slow. It says, yeah, it's slow, but it's hard to patch. We don't want devs patching our money. So ETH, they come in. No, actually, ETH gets patched. It gets patched too much. We don't want it patched that much. As far as security, Solana, BNB, Tron are secure enough. All I need to do is for the transfer to happen in 2 minutes. I don't care about security. All I care about is fees. So to me, ETH equals MySpace. Solana equals Facebook. BNB equals Instagram. TRX equals TikTok, something like this. This is how I'm thinking. The first mover only gets a head start. But in the end, whoever has the cheapest, fastest is the one that people go with. And that's the problem is ETH is had the first mover advantage, but people aren't using it. I'm not using it. I used to use it. So let's go into the chart right now. We're going to put on some levels. Also, I want to point out that my system did not do well on ETH, where all these other altcoins and BNB here, there's a massive breakout. ETH just fell right back in. So ETH, no, it could happen. I could be totally wrong. This is just an idea. This might not work out, but it's based on fundamentals. It started with the chart where I was like, what the fuck's wrong with ETH? There's supposed to be an ETH rally after the Bitcoin. It didn't happen. Okay, well, the fundamentals make sense to me of what the fuck is wrong with ETH. So let's put on some levels. So something that we see, you guys know this, I know this, but anytime there's a failure at an old monthly high, it's a potential top. It doesn't have to be a top. I'm trying to find the circles, but it's a potential top. Where's my circle tool? Uh, circle, circle. Oh, it's got to be right here. Here it is. So we care about how recent it was. It made a new all-time high December 6th and failed at it December 16th. Just like it came up here, it kind of failed here. As soon as it failed under, it created a significant trend. I'm always looking for ETH to bounce at old monthly lows. It did here. This one didn't hold, it just fell through. Bounced on this one. And then it did get a bounce here, but it had a really weak bounce. The other coins from this January 13 low had a really strong bounce. Bitcoin made a new all-time high. ETH hardly moved. What I'm also noticing, and this can be bearish, is when an asset starts to make these fair value gaps and they become resistant. So it made a big fair value up in the daily, failed in that, came lower, made a new big fair value up in the daily. Took a while to get back to it, but when it did, it failed right at it. New bearish fair value gaps formed, never made it back to this one, failed in this one. Bearish fair value gaps didn't even make it to them. It's not showing the filled ones here, but this kind of continued. Yeah, it continued to fail and gaps. Now, eventually it broke out and it did go on a monster rally. So we're on the lower, the higher time frame still. The daily, looking at years of history. Let's drop down a little bit. Are we making higher highs or lower lows? Chill, dog. Come here, doggy. My dog wants to play ball. We made a high here. It failed, and then we made a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then we are in a place where, in theory, like, oh, this is supply. So maybe we bounce from here. It's possible. I don't know. I'm not sharing like you should take a particular trade right now. My main takeaway from this is I don't want to trade our system MTP on ETH. I don't want to trade market timing. I don't want to I don't want to be a trend follower on ETH. I want to get more short exposure on ETH compared to Bitcoin. Trade Bitcoin long, trade ETH short. It's relatively weak. So, I mean, if I were to have a trading system, there's many, but the simple one is can sell at this fail is a good place, I guess. But I mean, I think target is really important for shorts. It's unlike longs. Longs, it's a lot easier to just get in and hold, and you can hold. Shorts, even for ETH, if it goes to zero, it'll happen very slowly. It's good to target these lows. Target this low on the first trade, then this low, then these lows, right? But yeah, I mean, even right this minute, it should bounce from here, but if it doesn't bounce, it's just going to zero, essentially. Yeah, I mean, it's just the relative weakness on ETH is crazy. So you can trade it short. I'm not going to share exact trades. I don't want you guys to copy my trades. A lot of it's happening on the bots anyways. But ETH is not an asset I will invest in. In order for me to do it, there'd have to be a bear market and it just doesn't budge. It doesn't go lower at all. That's what it would require. But for now, ETH is very much off limits. It's super weak. Leave it alone. Do not want. Argue in the comments. Much love. Peace.